All right. So, you know, I had obviously infuriated the COs at Santa Barbara County Jail. I don't know if it was a lieutenant or a sergeant. I think the Hispanic woman that, I called all the names to, I think she's a sergeant or a lieutenant. I don't know. She's a high ranking. They make $46,000 a year. You're fucking stupid and you're on drugs. You're on drugs, through. You know, how there's like older Hispanic women that talk like Southsiders, and that's something common that you find in jail. It's they say it a lot, and it's true. The guards are doing the time with us, straight up, and they start talking like this. You know, like it's ridiculous. You'll hear them like walking down the tier, and like every time that a cop walks by the tier, inmates are like little puppies. They're like, hey, did you get my medical slip? I've had a cavity for 17 months and like it's really hurting. And you said you might get it to me, get to me after like 15 months or something. Oh, no, not yet. And then they'll say some conviction. Hey, but as soon as I get a medical slip, I'll for sure shoot it to you. All right. You're like, what the fuck? Why are you talking like that? You don't talk like that. Does your wife go, yeah, we got the new Oreo cookies that you wanted. Oh, go ahead and shoot that. Oh, all right. Thanks. Fucking badass Isla. Thank you. They don't talk like that, but like at work, they start, becoming, I don't know. Guards talk like inmates. And it was clear that I'd pissed them off, I'd come in there on the suicide watch thing and I was unruly, I guess. I mean, I was, and this is one of the fundamental problems with county jails in this country is that there is absolutely no empathy for mental illness. And the vast majority of people that are in the cyclical entrapment of jail, incarceration, going in and out, are addict, alcoholic, or mentally ill, or a combination of all three, which is definitely me. And they don't adequately address mental illness. And, you're going to see over the course of these next few videos really how badly they treated me when I needed mental health service. I needed treatment at that time. I mean, even incarcerated, you should definitely, why aren't they getting to the root of the issue? But I went in there, I'd asked them to put me in the mods with the parolees, but that was after fighting them, and 30 of them put me in suicide watch for 3 days. After forcefully examining my asshole, and that's a real thing. Like they tugged my pants down and like spread my butt cheeks apart, like all I felt like I was in like some prison rape scene. It was nuts. It was hardcore, and it's a little demeaning as a heterosexual man to be bent over with a bunch of these the the people that are chosen last to play baseball always. And look, I've met COs that are cool as fuck throughout the years, and like there's ones that I'm actually glad that I encountered throughout my life. There's a lot of them that aren't, and I'm talking about the ones that aren't. It's just like what's going on now with police brutality. There's an awful lot of unregulated police brutality, and they have different standards. And that's in the free world. When you're in jail, you're in this microcosm of these rules that are established by them. I mean, it's like kangaroo court. Whoa. I tell Karina not to give Nico any sugar past 8 o'clock, but she never listens to me. So suicide watch was the first thing. And I'd asked to go to the mods because, hey, I'm a parolee. I'm a convict. I need to be around other convicts, be in the convict book club where it's like this highbrow upper echelon of convicts that work. They program, they work out, they read, they have a structured day. That's what I need. That's what I'm used to. That's what prison is. County jail is, I don't even know. It's a bunch of bums sleeping, and that's about it. That's pretty much what it is. That's where I needed to go. But out of spite and in clear mental illness, just think about this for a second. I was in suicide watch. By nature, that insinuates that I'm going through severe mental, emotional duress. I'm in a psychotic episode. I'm having a mental breakdown. It was very clear. And they're mad at me. And so they put me in the gladiator tank with a bunch of kids. I go in there, schooled correctly, solid, wanting people to work out. You know, what did I want? I wanted them to work out because that's what you should be doing in jail. Why would you go to jail and just lay in your bunk all day and read James Patterson books, the last 40 pages missing? That's bunk as fuck. You know, and then I went in there and I started getting them all packages and was giving them free dope, and I would have kept giving them free dope, but they jacked me. You know, that shows where they're at. Then after I get my ribs broken and after I get jumped, I have to go all through these weird tanks because they don't know what to do with me. I'm refusing housing. You know, I'm not gonna. They want me to go to PC. That's what they're like. We need to put you in PC, and that's really how it works in county. You know, if you get smashed out like that, like that's like really your only option unless you refuse, and then you're in the situation that I'm in right now. They didn't have room in solitary confinement, so the only in the solid in isolation, it's called ISO in county jail. They have a phone on the wall, and it's cool. Like, you know what? With the phone where I can talk to Karina all day, I'm cool. And I can talk to my friends, Karina, my family. I'd be okay with that. But they're telling me that the only place I can go is the place where the tranny was like, "But fuck me, grandpa." That weird. I don't even know where that is. And you know, throughout the jail, you'll hear psychotic people in the middle of the night screaming stuff. You know, like, "I murdered a beekeeper," and you're like, "What?" Just like the most random stuff you can think of. This is like the area now that they're saying I'm going to be housed in. That these noises, these screams of madness are generated from. So that's where I was going. It's going to be just sounds like that all night. Whatever. No phone. I didn't even have a bed for me. They're like, "No, but you know, we'll get you a couple blankets." I'm like, "Oh, awfully considerate. Thanks, homie. Appreciate that. Thanks for giving me two blankets. You can't even give me one of the little banana boats." They're like, "No, that's reserved for the gladiator tank. You couldn't last in there." I'm like, "I couldn't last in there." Okay. All right. Now I'm dope sick at this point. I'm in excruciating pain from my ribs. Um, Everybody focuses so much on the physical withdrawal of Suboxone or heroin, and there's a big emotional, psychological aspect to it. Imagine your worst low, multiply it by about 20. And that's what it feels like when you come off of drugs, of anything: cocaine, crystal meth, heroin. Because the dopamine and endorphin structure neurologically of how drugs and alcohol affect the brain, when they're taken away and you're not having this artificial sense of pleasure, the reward system isn't stimulated. You go through this very long and sometimes impossible period of depression. So that's what happened. And then I talk shit to this lieutenant or sergeant, whatever. Let's just call her lieutenant. That's easier. I think that might be federal. I don't know. I've been to so many places, I get them mixed up. I think she was a sergeant, though. I'm almost positive, not lieutenant. So then the sergeant comes up to me, and I'm asking her for something very simple. I want a clean set of clothes. And she starts getting antagonistic with me. So I call her a bitch, a cunt, Republican bitch, Democrat bitch, stupid bitch, fat bitch, bitch. Yo, bro, yo, bitch. You know. And then they leave me in there, and this guy takes me into this locked bathroom, and I get naked and I wrap myself up like a mummy. They didn't have the decency to give me clothes. No, I'm not a human. I'm not a human. So I'm in this bathroom, and of course, you know, I told you I beat off. And that's true. I mean, come on. Any convict knows. You're like in tank, dorms. I mean, I beat off anyway, covert. I don't give a fuck. I'm at that point. I'm the grouchy old masturbator. It's like Sunday football. Everyone's like screaming at the TV. I'm just sitting there with my little tent made with my knees, just jerking off. Zero fuck. But, you know, I have bottle of, what is it? Suave? Is it Suave or Suave? The lotion. I have that just out, like little bunched up Kleenexes. People are like, dude, are you beating off? I'm like, no way. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm going to keep watching football. Yeah. So now the sergeant comes and finds me in the bathroom in my mummified condition. And she's like, what in the actual fuck are you doing? Fucking white people are weird. And I'm like, now I'm still upset. I'm taking this personally. My ribs are broken. I'm dope sick. I'm in a heightened state of emotion. I'm in psychosis still. And I just go off on her. I'm like, you fucking dumb whore. Felt like that scene in the original Child's Play when the lady from Seventh Heaven finds out. Well, I've used this example before. When she finds out Chucky doesn't have the batteries in him and he just comes to life, right? And he's like, yo, fucking bitch. I'm seeing Karina and I, it's like one of our favorite memes is, when they're talking about how when you catch someone cheating and you're like, let me see your phone. And yo, fucking fat dry. That's how I was talking. Just like that. Just like Chucky. You fucking stupid whore. And then like the weird, like, but fuck me, grandpa. Like that, like possessive satanic Latin came out of me. I'm like, but fuck me. And junky bile spewing out of me. And she's like, oh, you think you're a clown, huh? You think you're funny? You think you're funny talking all that stupid shit and saying all that bad language? You're going to be stuck in this fucking bathroom. How does that feel, you fucking idiot? She left me. So now I'm in this dark bathroom. I don't even know how to describe this. It's like a death trap. It's like this, all parts of the jail are filthy. County jail, unequivocally, no matter where you are in the country, in the world, county jail are filthy. She kept me in this bathroom and has that perpetual smell of mildew. There's like somebody took a shit in there and like the plumbing didn't work, so it's like fossilized at this point. You could like extract shit out of it and inject it into a mosquito and make like some shitty convict. Jurassic Park. I don't know. It was a movie in the 90s. It was all right. We have like 20 sequels now. Anyway, doesn't matter. It is neither here nor there. This is the point, though. I'm in this bathroom. It is very dark in there, which is good in jail. So I was like, you know what? But I don't have clothes. I'm mummified. I'm sitting there with toilet paper, and there's not another roll. When I have to take a shit, which this is the thing. When you're strung out on heroin, when you're strung out on any opiate, your shit becomes hardened. I've always liked that about heroin. That's the one thing I like about being strung out on heroin is that your shit is super clean. It is like just like a 100% neat gig, you it's like a magic wipe. It happens to everybody. It's like winning a scratcher. You go to wipe, you look, there's no change to the paper, and you're like, damn, it's going to be a good night tonight. I'm going to go party. I don't even have to wash my ass with Purell or anything. I'm party made right now. Let's fucking go rage. With heroin, it's like that every time. You look and you're like, Mom says I'm ruining my life. I don't have to pay for toilet paper. What up with that? So what? Every time that I have to take a shit, but the flip side of that is when you're kicking, you get this mucusy, almost like a baby's really gross shit that's like all wet and like, it's not even, I don't even know the color. It's like, army fatigue brown, and you're just like, ugh, it's like all like, it's very liquidy. So what, every time that I have to take a shit, I have to unpeel part of my outfit and like, oh man, I guess I can part with my elbow. Just wipe with that. It's crazy. But I was happy that there was no light. So I go in there. I mean, well, I'm already in there, but I stay in there. Not like I had a choice in the matter. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm ready to go somewhere else. That doesn't work like that. And when they leave you places in county jail, they leave you for hours. This is what happens. So I'm laying there on the ground, trying to sleep. I can't sleep. And I don't even care. My head is on just this filth. I can't even really see everything in there. It's just, it's very dark at that point. And my ribs are just pulsating in pain. My stomach is brewing, the preliminary stages of withdrawal. It's just bubbling and it just hurts. I'm in pain, I'm dope sick, and I'm in my psychosis. And it comes to me. I see it clear as day. This is a very weird bathroom. Very weird. There's a door on it, which is weird for jail. Usually there's no door. Usually there's no privacy. Butt fucking has happened in here. At some point, at some time, jail's been up since like the 60s. Someone has butt fucked in there, for sure. That's not what I was thinking, though. What I was thinking is that, we've talked about it before. When they suspect you of swallowing a balloon of drugs when you're in the visit, they'll put you in an observational cell. Happened to me on acid once. And you go into this observational cell and you have to shit in a bucket until the balloons come out. And then there's some guy whose pure job, he's like a poop specialist. He's like going through it with tweezers. Like, remember like owl shit where like you could like find little bones and stuff? It seems so cool when you're like in elementary school. And you grow up and you're like, damn, dude, I was weird. I used to play with owl shit. And like, I thought it was cool. I'd find like bones of mice, which is another disgusting thing. But when you're a kid, you're just like, yeah. You have like these, delusions of grandeur. You're like, man, these mouse bones are fucking badass. I'm gonna start making dream catchers and sell them at my lemonade stand. I'm over school. Hey, mom, dad, nah, I'm entering into entrepreneurship. I'm gonna start making owl pellet dream catchers out of mouse bones. And your parents like, and then you hear like my mom talking to her sister, and she's like, well, I think we think he may have learning disabilities. He wants to stop doing school and he wants to make dream catchers out of owl shit. It's weird. It is weird, Sharon. Anyway, so I come to this realization. I come to this delusion, just like the time before I'd gone to Florida and the whole Mike Virgin thing happened, where I went through meth psychosis. I crawled around on the floor and I thought that there was a mathematical certainty that somebody at some point in this college town, Isla Vista, that I was living in, had dropped drugs. And if I looked, if I really surveyed the floor, that I'd be able to get them. Well, this same concept hit my head at this point. I'm like, okay, this is a weird private bathroom. The chances that somebody have dropped dope at some point in here are very high. Maybe somebody had like a plug, a balloon full of heroin. Maybe they brought them in here. They didn't want to get caught with it. So they just took the heroin out of their ass, and maybe they did it, but maybe they dropped a little bit of it. Maybe there's a balloon in here and I can't really see anything. I'm just like going over senses. This is true. Swear to God, this is true. Completely true. I start crawling around feeling for heroin, but I can't really see anything. So I'm finding like little black pellets, probably rat shit. Not sure. And I'm trying to smell them, but everybody knows that although your sense is heightened when you're kicking, senses can play tricks on you. So I can't really tell what I'm smelling. I don't know if it's rat shit. I don't know if it's a little black piece of rubber. I don't know if it's a little black piece of black tar heroin. And so I start collecting as many of these little pieces as possible, and I eat a couple of them, and it has a really bitter taste. I'm like, man, that might be heroin. You know what? Fuck it. I'll just eat every little black piece on the floor that I can. And I'm finding like balled up pieces of pubes, and I'm just like, I don't know. There might be heroin microscopically in this. Fuck it. Eating shit. I'm just eating anything I can off the floor of this disgusting bathroom. Swear to God, this is true. This is psychosis. I'm hoping, I'm praying that I find something that gives me some sort of relief. And you can only really understand that if you've been through the depths of kicking like that and you just don't care. I see, and you got to remember, I had the broken ribs. When you have the broken ribs, like that coupled with addiction is like, it's torture, And so I start eating this stuff and it's making me vomit. I'll like taste it and I'll start thinking about it. I'm like, oh, that could be a piece of shit. That could be a piece of human shit. Who knows? Oh God. And I'm like, fuck, probably just wasted heroin. Kid you not. I'm crawling around, picking out the pieces of whatever I'm eating, which is most likely rodent shit, human shit, whatever it is. And I'm picking the choice select pieces out of my own vomit and re-eating it. And it gets to a point where this cycle's going on where I'm picking stuff out of the vomit, I'm eating it, I'm puking it up, and I'm like, I'm not going to get it down. So then I come up with an idea that I'm going to boof it for real. I'm like, I'll just collect like a nice like half gram. I'm quantifying it like it's actual measurements of heroin. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get about a half gram. I'm going to boof it, you know? That way I don't have to taste it. Yeah, that's a good idea. So I collect and I'm like crawling around. I can't see anything. It's like I'm crawling around without my eyes open because there's hardly any light. And the little light that is coming in is eclipsed by the shadow of my body when I'm trying to do this. So I'm going around and I'm picking up, there's all sorts of nasty. Who knows what's on this floor? And I'm just anything that I feel and that I kind of like look and I'm like, all right, that's like a little speck of black. Eat it. Or at this point, now I'm grabbing them, I'm collecting them in my palm. And when I have what I think is about a half gram, I shove it up my ass. I boof it. I'm like, at least with boofing it, I'm not going to have to taste it. Now, when I start putting the stuff up my ass, most stuff doesn't feel like anything, but there's one particular thing. Who knows what it was? It might have been a little piece of fucking window glass or something. I stick it up my ass and my asshole starts burning. Feels like I just did a, Tabasco enema or something. I mean, it is burning with fury, and I'm like, and I'm like in my mummy outfit. But like, of course, I've ripped a little like ass flap open so that I can boof this weird pieces of whatever that I'm finding. And there's something stinging. My asshole is literally on fire. So I like put my hand up to it and I feel warmth. I'm like, oh God. No way. Put my hand back up and it was like in Stand By Me. There's blood all over my hand. I'm like, oh my God. That must be some bunk ass heroin, dude. And I'm freaking out because it's not a little amount of blood. It looks like paint. That's how much blood is on me. But I can't really see because it's in the dark. So I go up to the window and I like now I have a little more light and I keep like touching my ass and looking up and there's more and more blood. And I'm like, oh my God. I must have boofed a piece of window glass. Or who knows what it was, something sharp. But I stuck something sharp up my asshole thinking it was heroin because that's how fucking desperate I was for relief. Yeah. Yeah. No. I've dabbled in pain. Yeah, it's the old me. So I don't know what to do because now I can't get my asshole to stop bleeding. And like, I don't want to waste toilet paper. That's my warmth. That's my clothing. I'm not going to waste toilet paper trying to block this bleeding. And I'm not thinking it's that bad, but I'm looking in this little sliver of light in the window and there's like a snail trail of blood droplets all throughout the bathroom. And I'm like really bleeding. So I start knocking on the, on the bathroom door. Now it's a door with like a little window. It's like a racquetball little window, like a little, like, I don't know even what material it is, like hard plastic or glass. It's something that's translucent that you can see out of. I start knocking on it. Man down! Man down! Nobody comes. I do this for like 30 minutes until my voice cords have like, I've like lost my voice. I'm like, man down, which is like even more terrifying because now nobody can hear me. Not like anybody cared before, but now I'm really freaking out. And again, I start crying, I mean, I just think about my life up to this point and I think about the whole thing, I think about going to prison for the first time for 5 years. I was a kid. I was 23. I went in there green. I wasn't very tough going in. I came out tough, and that's just, I was a different person. It's not even tough. I came out more like just, I was totally not scared of anything anymore. By the second time I went to prison, it was even more so. And I think that's why my little violation was much more reckless. But I'd gotten out of prison. I'd gone to AA meetings because I was trying to better myself. I couldn't understand because I knew that I was a good person, but I couldn't understand why I kept making bad decisions. I just couldn't get it. It's like, why do I keep doing this? Like, I have a good heart and I have a lot of people that care about me. I have a lot of friends. And typically when you're a piece of shit, you don't have a lot of friends. So I'm like, well, if I'm not a piece of shit and if I have friends, then why do I keep going to jail all the time? So I'm going to these AA meetings trying to fix myself. I meet a girl, platonic girl. We weren't even fucking or anything. Not when we first met. And she's telling me she's an escort, and she's telling me that she's been raped and beaten, and that it's really hard for her as a girl to try to, find sex work, you know, and well, prostitution's illegal. Well, then don't watch Pornhub, motherfucker. Stop being a hypocrite. If you're not jerking off to porn, if you're not, then you're probably a chomo or something. But it's like, don't be hypocritical. You're paying or you're watching, even if you're just watching Pornhub for free. If you're one of those guys that doesn't, I mean, definitely, I recommend upgrading to the premium. It's just better storylines, better cinematography. It's just better. I mean, I don't watch it. No, I don't do that though. No. I don't watch porn. No, she doesn't give a fuck. Corinne doesn't care. She likes porn too. It's whatever. Who fucking doesn't? You're a human. You like watching people fuck. It's just what? It's just stop being a hypocrite. It's the same people that are like, oh, gay marriage, fuck those queers. But then they're either like, you always read about it. They're like a big sting went down at the airport, and you knocked 3 times on the third stall, and homosexual experiences were happening, in record numbers. Straight, toilet bowl butt fucks that went on, and clandestine fucking anal shit. But it's like, how can you be against prostitution when you're watching porn and those guys are getting paid for it? How can you be against that shit? Or like the people that go, oh, stripper, porn star, you must be proud, slut. But you go to the strip clubs and you watch the fucking porn. But you want to give those guys a fucking bad name. Makes no sense to me. It's hypocritical. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But the point is personally, I didn't have anything against prostitution. I've never done it. I've never been offered that. We've talked about this a million times. No one's ever been like, dude, suck my dick and I'll give you $1. I would have been like, I don't know. I think I'm just going to wait it out, man. Thank God I've never been in that fucking position. I've always had a hustle, I've always been on my money when I'm out there, even when I'm fucking sick. But the thing is I really legitimately, maybe it's because my moral compass was skewed, but I didn't really think that I was doing anything that bad. I was going to protect a prostitute. That's what it is. That's a misdemeanor in the great state of California. I could drive for 6 hours and go to Vegas and it's fucking legal. Well, that's not the point, Ryan. The point is that you knew that there was an illegal law and you chose to break it. You are a bitch. Whatever. So I go there. I get set up by my old heroin dealer that I've known for 20 years. He bitches out. He goes out sideways. He tells on me. I get set up. The girl tells the cop, I'm just trying to help my friend because he just got out of prison. That did not help me. That single statement alone is why I would just, that's why I did 16 months. That's why I couldn't beat it. And then my dad bails me out. And I tell my therapist, again, because I'm trying to change. And I'm honest with her because I want to process it, because I know that I'm a good person. I can't understand why I have these impulsivity issues, why I can't see the tape through, so to speak. And I've come to learn what that is. It's ADD. Google it. Google me, dog. Oh yeah, Google me. ADD gives you these compulsion issues, gives you impulsivity. You have real deal ADD like I do, and a lot of people do. And for years I didn't understand. So the trick is learning how to manage that. Mind, body, spirit, workout, creativity, altruistic behavior, doing nice things for other people and expecting nothing back. That's what's up. That's what keeps me off drugs. That's what keeps me from breaking the law. I can break the law all the time. I have people that call me all the time and they're like, yo, I don't know. I just fell in love with a prostitute and we accidentally killed her pimp. And it's a really kind of messy, hasty situation. And one of the other hookers that was at the brothel put $500,000 worth of blow. And I'm just thinking maybe you could use some of your film producer connections to move the half, the all the cocaine that we've just stolen. No, that's true romance, but it's like I get criminal offers all the time. Hey, I got this fool right here. If you text him a picture of your cock, he'll give you $40. I'm like, I can't, man. I'm just not breaking the law anymore. But I tell this therapist the truth, and she ends up using it against. She calls me an hour later. Oh, I'm just an intern, and well, I checked with my boss, and well, we have to tell your probation officer. We don't care if you're going to prison. Fucking bitch. Jesus. And then Karina gets pregnant. And then I get a film deal for my book. And then this documentary goes into production. I have a full-blown fucking manic episode. And this is all the things that I'm thinking about. Not to keep hitting not to keep beating a dead horse, but it was an unusual confluence of factors that put me in this position. And now I'm in this position. I got jumped. I've broken ribs. I'm sitting in this thing like a mummy. I have an ass flap open. I have boofing pieces of whatever. I don't even know. Something that fucking cut me. And now my voice is gone because I've been yelling for help and there's not a fucking person in this institution that cares, that wants to help me. That has an effect on you as a person. You start feeling objectified, like you're not a person, like you're just a fucking number. And that sucks. It makes it really hard to transition after being institutionalized so much. And that's why they say that people are institutionalized. All I wanted was a Pepsi. I just want Pepsi. She wouldn't give it to me. I don't know why I'm biting so much other stuff tonight. I'm just in one of those moods. Finally, a cop comes. He flashes his flashlight in. Sugar-free monster, And I'm like, hey. I'm like, hey, man. And I can't talk. I'm like, hey. I need help. He's like, I can't hear you. Speak up. And I'm like, trying to do sign, I'm like, he's like, what does that even mean? I'm like, I don't know. No, but he, can speak loud enough where I can tell him what's going on. And he goes, why are you dressed like that? I was like, because you guys won't give me clothes. And I've ripped my asshole. It's like, what? It's like, I've ripped my asshole. And I stand up, right? This must look so ridiculous. I have this like toilet paper mummy outfit. And I have this little flap where my ass is. And it's open. And there's blood trickling out. It seriously looked like I was at some sort of like gay orgy that was like Halloween themed, and I was like the power bottom mummy or something. I just had this like assless fucking mummy outfit on, and there's just blood at this point blood was coming out pretty hardcore. And he's like, well, man, that's doesn't look good. Hey, oh man, it's the end of the shift, man. Hey, get the next one. I'll put it in my notes. Hey, stay down, Wood. I'm like, Jesus, man. So he actually ends up leaving me in there. And, one thing that I really haven't mentioned up to this point is that while I was going through the breakdown, I was on a lot of Xanax. I was on Ativan. I was on a bunch of benzos, and benzos don't agree with me. I turned into a different person on them. And I don't know if it was the Suboxone that I was kicking. I've never hallucinated coming off of opiates, but benzos I know can be very comparable to delirium tremens for alcohol, because it's essentially doing the same thing neurologically when you kick, something very similar. And I definitely started hallucinating right around this time after he had left me in there. And I'm just thinking, that's why I was explaining like all the things that were going through my mind, missing the birth of Nico, the fact that I just blew an opportunity for the documentary. Like that was a real thing that I fucked up because of my ego. And like, I was thinking about that. And, of course I'm still like, I'm in this much pain. The ribs are broken. My asshole's bleeding. And I'm like thinking, I'm experiencing this pain so that others don't have to for me. I'm an icon. I am going viral. I am an ambassador for prison reform. Just delusional way out shit like that. And that's when I started hallucinating. The first thing that I saw, which I know was not real. So it was like not one of those hallucinations where you think that it's real. It's where you know that it's not. And I saw a trustee. So usually there's trustees in prison, yeah, or jail. And, it's inmates that have like special privileges, they like hand out the sandwiches and like, they pay them and like, they're like, hey man, thanks for the hard work today. Here's an extra side of lettuce. Oh, and here's some coleslaw from like a week ago. And like the trustees are always like, thanks, CO. They're like calling their family like, yeah, I'm a trustee now. I'm thinking about not coming home. I mean, I have it pretty good here. I'm getting extra lettuce and coleslaw. It's pretty dope. Pretty bomb. It's always like guys like that, right? So I see one going by and I'm like, you're like a puppy in the pound. Anytime somebody goes through your little window, you like get all excited and like start jumping up and down. Although in this particular case, I was dressed like a mummy and my butthole is bleeding. But I knock on the door and I'm like, hey. And I don't see him because his face is not, I don't see his face. It's not turned to me. And he looks at me and I'll never forget it. He looks at me and his eyes have been replaced with sockets of gore. I wrote about that in Delirium Tremens, the screenplay that I just sold. I posted some of it on Patreon and on YouTube, or on Instagram, I think Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon. But this is where I got inspired for that part. I look at this trustee, kind of like swivels at me, and his eye sockets have been replaced with vacant gore. And there's like, and I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, dude, did that happen boofing glass? And he just looks at me and he's like, I didn't really say the boofing glass, but I'm like, hey, are you all right? And he's like, and I see him like keep mopping and he just evaporates. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I boofed acid. No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is something I stuck on my ass. Maybe I did. There was like a little, pebble of like angel dust or something. Who knows what the fuck happened, but it was clear that I knew that I was hallucinating. It's not something that could be misconstrued. Like I knew that what I was looking at was not actually real. And it was very frightening, because I've done marathon psychedelics. We haven't got into that, but eventually I want to do an entire psychedelic series because I have so much experience with them. And to this day, I'm not opposed to doing them. I find benefit in them and I get insights, and I like psychedelic drugs and I like tripping, and I probably will always do it. I'll probably be one of those guys that does that for the rest of his life once in a while. Goes hiking with his friends and does mushrooms, does an ayahuasca spiritual healing session, ibogaine, whatever it is. I've done peyote. And I think because of the psychedelics that I've done, and I might just have a good imagination to begin with, and that's maybe where some of the creative stuff comes from. But I think that psychedelics have allowed me to really manifest visuals in a hallucinatory way when I'm under the influence of psychedelics or when I'm kicking, because it also had happened when I was having the DTs. Remember, we talked about it when I saw like insects crawling on the ceiling. Whatever the case, I think that there's definitely a relationship between the amount of psychedelic drugs that I've done and the withdrawals and anything that has incited a hallucinatory response. I knew for a fact that that wasn't real, and I was tripping out on it, because he just looked at me and he was missing his eye sockets, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, I was like, "Man, I've been fighting this for years, but maybe I should speak with a psychiatrist because this is not that chill." It's not that chilly. So now, not only do I have the broken ribs, not only do I have the psychosis and the overall avalanche of emotional fucking disarray, now I'm hallucinating and seeing like super gnarly horror-esque images. And that was the first hallucination, and it was the first of many. And we will get into what happens in the next video. I have work I'm doing right now, so I have to cut this one short. I got a surprise for you guys coming out mid-month. Also, June Gloom's coming out. The documentary's coming out. I think we're releasing it in August, regardless of festivals or anything. I mean, we don't want to do con digitally. We're talking with people right now, and I should have an answer of where it's going soon. For the time being, this is what I got going on. I got the snake ordinance blotter. So now it comes with a certificate of authenticity. I don't have that yet, but I sign it right there. It comes with like a little wasting talent sticker, and it will be numbered. This is from the regular edition. There's also artist proof. So I've already sold the artist proof. They're $60. You can PayPal me. If for whatever reason you've ever had an issue with products in the past, now we have Joe. Let's get that straightened out. I'm doing very well now. And if there's anything when I was disorganized that I forgot about, please let me know. The email address will be below. It's palabra.email@gmail.com. And people try to get free. They're like, dude, ordered 37 signed first editions of Wasting Talent in the summer of 2007. Dude, I wrote that shit in like 2012. Your word's your bond, dog. Word's your bond. So don't try to scam, because we're going to verify it with screenshots. I mean, if you go, yeah, I paid on PayPal. Yes, you're right. That's not your responsibility. And I'm pretty sure that I've taken care of 99% of people. A couple people have reached out to me lately. I wrote back personally. The signed Wasting Talents I've ordered 100 of them. It says June 7th, but it's usually a couple days before that. But I also have the snake ordinance with the Wasting Talent little sticker, and it will come with the certificate of authenticity. And then we have a lot of new products, but this is just a couple that I have on my desk right here. And this is, I don't know if you can see this. This is a POG container. Don't put drugs in this. I'm not telling you to do that. But it has balloons on it, and it says, Ryan Leone, 800 milligrams, I be boofing. These are gifts for Patreon, but I'm also selling them for $20, and it comes with the certificate of authenticity. There's only 800 of them. Some of the proceeds for every single thing I do goes to my Narcan initiative for Paul. It's paulnarcanproject.com. All the links are in the pinned comments. Also check out patreon.com/Ryan Leone. There's exclusive stories on there. There's a lot of content from the documentary. Slowly but surely, I've put a shitload of stuff on there. So, if everything's retroactive, if you sign up today, you can try it for $3 a month. It goes all the way up to $100 a month. And at $100 a month, we buy stuff. But I mean, besides that, it's something you should check out if you like my stuff. And I appreciate it. A year ago, I was on welfare, and we're getting ready to buy a house this fall. And everyone's like, oh my God, you can't do that. Your channel, you don't even have 12,000 followers. I'm so fuck you. Well, I guess you don't realize there's other stuff going on. I just sold a screenplay, just got another book deal, got a second book coming out, another album. I'm doing other stuff besides this. I certainly appreciate your guys' support, and I could never be where I am without you guys. I really do appreciate and love you all. Let's get into the rest of this story next time. Stay safe out there. It's wild. Palabra.